Creativity is one of those things which gets weirder and weirder the more you think about it. How do we, as human beings, come up with the stuff that we do? Like, there's some people who know how a car works, less people who know how our phones work, and even less people who know how the Bluetooth in our phones work. If you ask me to build any of the technology that we use today, the best I could get you is a water bottle, and even then, I'm not sure I could do that. And when we think about it in terms of creating art and stories, humans have been imagining and creating things which simply don't exist, and never will exist, but which we all collectively know about. Things like dragons and unicorns and all other manner of fantasy monsters and creatures and people. Where does that come from? What's the secret to creating things? Man, this space in the script seems pretty blank. It's almost like there's an ad or something. I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Aura. I want you guys to think about a time when a company you trusted announced a data breach involving your personal information. What went through your mind as you processed the news? What actions did you take to respond? And most importantly, what actions did you not take to respond? Because not responding or taking any action in this moment right now could leave you vulnerable to future data breaches. After all, hackers may have stolen the social security numbers of every American. So if you live in America like I do, you might want to listen to what I have to say. Over 2.9 billion records were stolen from National Public Data, which offers personal information to employers, private investigators, staffing agencies, and others doing background checks. These stolen records include a person's full name, address, date of birth, social security number, and phone number, along with alternate names and birth dates. And members of the hacker group have reportedly released this information for free online. I don't know about you guys, but as a person who has had their passwords stolen in the past, that sort of thing is incredibly terrifying to me. Oftentimes we think it can't happen to us until it does, and we're left without any idea of what to do or who to call. Even if you're doing your best to keep your identity safe, things like this can still happen. And by the time you realize it has happened, it'll already be too late. That's why it's so important to get ahead of it and prepare for the worst. If you weren't taking precautions with your personal information online before, this should be a huge wake-up call. You've never been more vulnerable online than you are right now. But for me personally, I'm not too worried because I use Aura. Aura alerts me if my phone number, email, or social security number is on the dark web. They're going to let me know fast if anyone tries to use this information to get access to my credit or bank accounts. They also give me up to $5 million in identity theft insurance should the worst case scenario ever happen to me again. There's also a ton of other features to keep you safe online, all inside one easy-to-use app. You can go to my link, aura.com/scrit, to try 14 days for free. That will be enough time for Aura to find out if any of your personal data has been exposed. I highly recommend you do this right now because not only is National Public Data not going to do anything to help you, they're probably not going to face any repercussions for this leak. And if there aren't any repercussions, that more than likely means it's going to happen again. I'm not leaving myself vulnerable to data breaches, and if you don't want to either, you can go to aura.com/scrit and try 2 weeks for free. Anyways, back to the rest of the video. Creativity centers around choosing your battles, accepting imperfection, and staying consistent. The question is not, what is the greatest thing I can make? It is, what level of quality and effort can I maintain consistently to prepare for the times when I push myself to be great? But, people don't usually say that because they can't remember all the words. I get a lot of critique in my videos, much of which is quite valid if the assumption is that I intend to make the best YouTube videos out there. The simple truth is, YouTube's just a means to an end for someone like me. It's not my aspiration to be famous, but I do require the audience which comes along with a YouTube channel so that I can organize and make use of it down the road. Because of that, you may notice that while the videos I make are consistently above average in quality, they're not really well organized or focused. That's because my goal is not to outdo myself with every video that I make. My goal is to stay consistent. and to slowly progress my skills over a long period of time. I see the criticism. I see where I could do better when it comes to making my videos. I think many of the scripts I make could benefit greatly from a second draft or some editing, or maybe even a little bit more research. But for those who think that my videos are great, thank you by the way, you may be surprised to learn that there are almost 0 videos on this channel where I've used anything other than the rough draft of the script. To pull back the screen on this channel a bit, I tend to write the script for every video within one afternoon. I have an inner monologue in my brain, a few points that I want to hit in the video, and then the rest is me just openly pondering the topic and attempting to form some sort of thesis or argument. This channel will probably never prioritize teaching others because the majority of my videos are an exercise for me to improve as a writer. The videos I make are merely notes, bits of advice, and personal beliefs that I have cultivated over more than a decade of writing as a hobby. I don't see myself changing lives or blowing people's minds with whatever knowledge I drop on them. My main focus with every video is not necessarily on the audience, but on myself, as egotistical as that might sound. Sure, I will sometimes put myself in the mindset of someone who wants to make a good and interesting video, which will do well in the YouTube algorithm. I took about a year to learn how to make a good YouTube video and how to maintain people's attention. The simple truth about YouTube most people don't want to contend with is that if your channel is failing, it's likely a result of your content just not being all that interesting or consistent. There are many content creators, video essayists, and writers on YouTube. Many of them, I believe, make better content than I do. There are also a great deal of writers and authors who have a lot more wisdom and knowledge on the topic of writing than I do. And yet they can't seem to find a way to make those dry, boring lessons about writing good characters and amazing story arcs into a fun and interesting YouTube video. There are video essayists on this website who have mastered their craft, creating extremely well-focused and well-researched videos. Ones with documentarian-style editing, ones which really hit all of the emotional centers of their audiences, ones which do extremely well in the algorithm, and then they just disappear, never to be seen again. They've said all that they wanted to say. Either that or the act of creating something of that quality slowly wears away at their enjoyment until they're just burnt out. Burnout happens to everyone. In fact, it happened to me about a couple weeks ago. But it happens more often to perfectionists and people who refuse to pick their battles. We all have an image in our head of the indomitable artist who is uncompromising and willing to starve for the things they make. Someone capable of pushing through their limitations to achieve a magnificent and groundbreaking work of art. That type of person who's going to take the most difficult road and end up with one of the greatest works of all time. This is not an impossible thing to achieve, but it does not happen in the way that people think it does. Yes, passion and motivation can take you very far. They can help you reach heights that you never thought were possible. The willingness to be your own greatest critic can sharpen your skills to a fine razor edge, but it can also paralyze you. It can leave you feeling inadequate. It can stunt your growth and waste what precious little time you do have. It can make you feel as though you are unworthy to do the things you love because the things you've created could always be better. So instead of suffering the pain of failure, inadequacy, and mediocrity, most people resolve to just do nothing. They waste away, creating nothing and critiquing everything, bitter about the fact that other people can create something, knowing that they could do better if they weren't so afraid of failing. Or rather, thinking they can do better, but never bothering to test if it's true. You might be able to tell that I have a level of resentment for the artist with this type of mindset. The one who has a chip on their shoulder. The one who feels the need to gatekeep the quality of whatever medium they claim to specialize in. Believing in and chasing this impossible ideal of an uncompromising artist who only ever delivers incredible, thought-provoking, and emotional work. The one who publicly tortures themselves in a prideful and almost egocentric way, the one who ends up creating very little in the end, or nothing at all, the one who covets their own work and knowledge, thinking that creativity and art is somehow a competition. I resent this person because it's the same person I fight within myself every day. The side of me which says that I need to do better, that the thing I'm creating is not good enough, that I should not release something so unfinished, so mediocre, so imperfect. But this channel is an exercise of imperfection, and that's on purpose. It's me learning to overcome by doing instead of simply thinking and dreaming. It's my personal vendetta with myself, and it always has been. It always will be. The point of this channel is not to act as though I'm a teacher or some authority on the topic of writing. It's not even to produce the best content that I possibly can deliver to an audience. It's to be consistent and to get comfortable producing something that will always be imperfect. I'm just a guy who likes to write. You can think of me as a fellow colleague who is just down here struggling to make good art like all of you. I am that same person who stopped themselves multiple times from doing things I enjoy for fear that I wouldn't be good enough at it. I mean, this channel is something that I had in mind for years, maybe even a decade, before I ever actually sat down and decided to make it. And so, because of that, I don't write anything more than a rough draft for every script that I make. I would rather the majority of my videos be me talking to the page, thinking out loud, openly pondering and sharing my experiences, my thoughts, my opinions, and all of the things that I've learned over the years. Something that I will always do, even if I'm the only one listening. And if my consistent efforts can inspire somebody to make something as well, no matter how imperfect it may be, then I think I can feel good knowing that I've helped others overcome that same part of themselves which I struggle with every day. So yes, my videos could be more focused. I could look up more academic research and find more sources of information to draw upon to make my case as a writer. I could delve into the world of philosophy and inform everyone of the nuances within each and every way of thinking. But I also know, as I am now, I would struggle to maintain that level of quality. I would be dedicating far too much of my time and energy towards making these videos, and not enough of it towards what I actually want to do, which is write my book. Maybe I could push through, achieve new heights. Maybe I could surprise myself with just how good of a YouTube video I could make. But those things come at a cost. They come at the burning of my own passion and the expenditure of my own time. They come when I throw myself completely on the fires of creation in an effort to snatch something I could have grabbed if I just stayed consistent and remained patient. There will come a time when writing a YouTube video like this is boring to me, when I'm no longer satisfied with the quality of what I've written. There will come a time when I may want to take this hobby more seriously and push myself to see how far I can go as a YouTuber. However, that's exactly what I'm doing already with my book. For the last 10 years, I've done nothing but treat it as a hobby, and only recently am I actually taking it serious. It's a proven method for me. I mean, there was a time when I couldn't write more than a couple hundred words in a day, whether I was too busy to do it or whether I just got so fatigued writing that I had to stop after the first couple hundred words. Nowadays, I can write entire chapters in a single day if time is permitting. Not just that, but I can do it over and over and over again. I can sit down and write once a day, every day. I can consistently write over 10,000 words every week without fail. This is not a level of mastery I've achieved by second-guessing myself, by being my own worst critic and trading my happiness and enjoyment for cynicism and perfectionism. So what if the chapters I write as a rough draft are imperfect? That's the point. That's why I'm doing this in the first place. I'm teaching myself how to write without the chains of my own fear of failure and inadequacy. I'm staying consistent and growing through action instead of spending days upon days thinking about all the progress I could be making once I finally learn enough about writing. All of this digression about myself my own journey and my process as a writer, just to say to you, the audience who clicked on this video, that there is no magic bullet or secret to writing something great that you yourself don't already know. Every writer or artist who watches my videos and the videos of others already knows the fundamental truth about how to create something amazing. And it starts by creating something shitty. It starts with action, and it ends with action. There's no amount of lessons, revelations, nor wisdom you can have which is going to make the art you want to make without first taking action to actually create something. Putting those lessons to practice is far more useful than storing them up and imagining the day you'll become a perfect writer without ever having written a single word. It starts when you accept the reality of imperfection and embrace it. It starts when you fall in love with the process and discover your potential along the way. When you learn to choose your battles, save your energy for those key moments when you need them most. When you learn to take action so that your energy is never wasted by the passage of time. No act of creation is possible without creating action. So when you find yourself paralyzed by the image of who you should be, when you are bitter about the ways other people can seemingly be content with their imperfect creations, remember who you are in that moment. Remember that you are inherently imperfect. Remember that your imperfections are the things which make you human, and the imperfections of what you make create something distinctly human. Remember that your life is finite, and that you've wasted more than enough time listening to this video. Remember that you can always open up a document and start writing.